All right. Well, it came to my attention that Inmendham saw and replied to my reply to him on his final solution. Now, first of all, I want to say about being blocked, this is kind of awkward, Inmendham, because when you block me, it's like you're turning your back to me. So I'm facing your back, and I'm like, well, I can't pretend that side has a face on it. So, I'm going to start talking about you in third person and stuff like that. It turns out you're just pretending to turn your back on me. You're actually still listening, and you turn around and then say something, and then turn back around, and don't. It's awkward. It's sort of silly. What's the point of that? I mean, if you're going to talk about things I've said, I would like to hear about it. People will tell me, but see, that'll start to be very selective. And anyway, okay. First of all, I'm going to go through. I made a few notes on what you said. First of all, on the ulterior motives. Okay, I did not just say this is some ulterior motive like you're trying to make money or something totally separate from what you're saying. No, I think the ulterior motive is also, it's not a particularly hidden one. I was specific. The ulterior motive of objectivists is to confirm what they already know does not need to be doubted. Okay? The ulterior motive is not to seek knowledge from the objective world. It's to assert that you already have the knowledge. That's the ulterior motive. Now, in terms of the constructability of a virtual environment, I did not say it couldn't be constructed. What I said was that, if you simulate a dog, you need a real dog to model. Now, you think personality is entirely computable, and I don't. It's not about getting the textures or even the smell or something. I'm willing to assume that there's some, true virtual reality thing that plugs straight into the brain and can generate all the senses. Okay, fine, we can assume that. The issue is still, how do you generate the behavior? Now, if they simulate a person, you're going to be able to fall. Do you imagine you'll be able to fall in love with that person? Because I don't. And not in an ooh, ick, it's a robot sort of way, but just in a, I can't imagine it's going to be satisfying way. Because I don't think personality is computable with the kinds of computers that we have now. It's basically not computable. There might be some way to generate it. Obviously, our brain generates it, but our current computers, I mean, maybe if we get quantum computers or we figure out what's going on in the mind. But basically, for that to be satisfactory, it couldn't be a simulation of a person. It would have to be a genuine person. We'll have to solve the riddle of sentience and actually create sentient beings. Maybe you could fall in love with them. And my point about some of this is just that even if you can get a simulation that's satisfactory, you will do that by studying, let's say, the real tiger in the real world. You say, now you don't have to worry about extinction, meaning all the real tigers then can just go extinct, and that's fine, or suddenly the real tiger's life would be assured. It doesn't make sense. Just because you have a photo, which is all a virtual reality is going to be, is a fancy three-dimensional interactive photo, just because you have a photo of a tiger does not save the tiger from extinction. I mean, there's drawings of the dodo. It's still extinct. It'll be extinct if we transfer those drawings into a computer. That's what I'm saying. Okay, I did not say the programming would suck, but I do think that programming so far, certainly can't achieve that. Now, there's actually a $100,000 prize for anybody that can pass even a restricted Turing test and convince people through text chat that it's a human. Nobody's won that prize. You're wrong about that. There is no AI that has convinced people that it was human. Yes, I didn't actually say to want perfection is a problem, but you're right. It's the same thing as what I did say. To want finality and a final solution is a very dangerous thing. We do a lot of desperate things because we want an absolute solution. I think solutions are situational. They are good enough. So, if the situation is you have to carry water, and so you build a water system for yourself, then that's a solution for your problem. You get water to your house. It doesn't make it a perfect solution. It doesn't mean it can't be improved. okay, with stronger pipes or bigger pipes or dumping the water a better place or whatever the problems of that system will be, because every system will have some flaws. You can mitigate that yet again. And I just think that's a process that continually goes on. And furthermore, sometimes we have to face problems that are just recurring, a lot of the problems. And that's why I use the cleaning the house example. You can't hope for a final solution just to clean the house, okay? It's going to have to be a solution that keeps cleaning the house over and over again. And lots of the problems are like that in life, I think. Now on the cage in Kevorkian does not go to jail for committing suicide. He went to jail for helping other people commit suicide, which in our legal system is a kind of murder or manslaughter, okay? People that commit suicide do not go to jail, they go to the morgue, okay? And, I just, see, you're alive, okay? I don't know if you've seen me talk about this, but I believe there's a pair of philosophies for any person professing a philosophy. There's the one they're professing, and then there's the one that is their real worldview that you can deduce from their behavior. It's the philosophy they would have to justify their behavior. People that have chosen to be alive, I look at their behavior, I see, oh, they must have a philosophy that embraced life somehow. If you're surviving to help other people get a better situation, that's a very noble reason to survive. And if you can find motivation in that, you might be a very good person, okay? But you can't tell me that there's no reason to survive, because obviously you found one. And if you won't tell me what the reason is, I can see from the fact that you survived. Now you say life is an addiction, and I can agree with that, but why not just embrace the fact that it's addicting? There's something about it that you just love, And because you don't love an addiction, you're just trapped with it. Well, that's the trap I'm saying that you should escape. You shouldn't just say, you shouldn't just give in to viewing it as an addiction. You should pick out what you're getting from it. Why do you need, what is it doing for you? And then you should come to terms with that addiction. But no matter what you do, you can't come back and say, I've decided not to live when you're around here living. But I don't want anybody, to stop living. I don't want anybody to decide that. But I bring this up because I think really mostly, look at all the people that have decided to live. It's like you say, yeah, humans will take almost any problem. And there's a couple reasons. I mean, I don't really know the reasons, but, one, life is interesting. Even when it's hard, it's interesting. Okay, and it's worth living to find out interesting things. Two, there's the future. Okay, there's the future. Even if you're not free, you can hope to be free one day. And struggling for freedom might not be as fun as already having the freedom and, enjoying yourself in Epicurean delight, but it is a good reason, and it does feel good on a certain level to fight for justice and freedom. And I assume you know that because you seem to feel better by trying to be active in your local politics, in your theory of suffering and wanting to alleviate human suffering. Okay. I don't recall saying that you were cowards or weak. I did imply a certain kind of weakness involved with, not with the thing about, that it's more spineless to pretend you're 100% correct than it is to just admit that you're acting when you're 90% correct. But I didn't really call you cowards or weak, so I don't know what you're talking about there. I did say you don't want to leave it to us to decide if life is good. And, okay, I accept your clarification. You want to leave it to us in the sense that you'll let us do something you consider objectively stupid. Philosophically, you're not leaving it to us. You're telling us that life isn't worth living. If we think it is, then there's something wrong with us. We're just objectively wrong. That's my impression. Anyway, the part about me being a programmer is just that when you talk about virtual reality, I'm very excited in that area, and I've worked a lot in it. And I may again someday. And in virtual communities and this sort of thing. But when you bring it up, I think of it as a programmer, and I'm excited in programming this thing. I want to create these kinds of illusions and worlds that you want to play in, and I hope you'll like them as much as you think you will. But to me, it's a construction. You know, I don't see that as a world we can escape to, because there's still a real world. There's still somebody keeping the servers running. There's still a real world. And if the tiger gets copied into the computer, and that's going to be a reason that it's not extinct, so we can let all the real worlds die off because they're copied into a computer, that doesn't seem too cool to me. Anyway, so unblock me, dude.